Hello, everyone. We will start the webinar in a couple of minutes, just waiting for the attendees to join in. All right, we will get started now. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining from. Hopefully, you all can hear me fine. If anyone is not able to hear, so just uh, leave a message on the chat window. Okay. So let's get started. Or, um, are you all able to see the screen, hopefully? All right. Uh, yeah, so I mean, the topic of today's webinar is on micro-SaaS and how to go from idea to production. And I'm Ruben Fukan. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Avery.dev. Uh, and what we will cover primarily in this webinar is essentially why micro-SaaS, right? And why now? And what is the landscape of micro-SaaS that is enabling or is enabled by AI, which actually creates a massive opportunity for people with domain expertise, right? Who knows niche problems in their field of expertise that they can solve. And then we will talk about how Avery is enabling anyone with an idea to take those idea into production without having to worry about the technology details as much or without having to code. So that's the whole, uh, I mean, that's what we'll be covering today. Now, very quickly about myself, I have been in the field of AI machine learning for over 25 years now. Have started three companies. So this is my third company. I started as a data scientist at Yahoo. Uh, was fortunate enough to be the founding member of their data science team and worked very closely with the founder, David Philo. Learned a lot from him and have since started two companies. One company called Bixby, which was in the vertical search space. This was acquired by the Naspers Group. And then my second startup was a company called Data RPM. We were one of the first AI platforms for industrial IoT, and this was acquired by Progress Software. So that's a very quick background about myself. I have been in the SaaS field or in the enterprise SaaS field for quite a long time, have worked across multiple domains and multiple business problems. And what today, the opportunity that AI is enabling for domain expert is something that was not possible before, right? A non-technical person trying to create a SaaS company would have to either go with freelancers or hire a team of engineers before they can take their idea to production, which has dramatically changed in the last, I would say, 1 year or so, with what AI is enabling today. Now, very quickly about Avery. So Avery is an AI virtual engineer. It basically, the whole objective of Avery is to enable, as I've been saying, domain experts to take their ideas from concept to production. So it doesn't require any coding knowledge or doesn't require a team of DevOps engineers to be able to do that, right? And uh, today there are several vibe coding platforms out there, and specifically a lot of big names there. But one of the biggest challenge across all of those platforms is what is known as the credit wall, right? So they give you limited credits to build, and as you continue to iterate or as the AI makes mistakes, right? So you pay to fix for those with credits, right? So which makes it very, very unpredictable as to what would be your cost to take something to production. Um, so we started to with the objective that the sole goal of the domain expert should be to worry about how to get to the customers, right? And the platform should not be a barrier for that. So, which is why we are one of the only vibe coding, or rather, we are the only vibe coding platform today which offers a flat fee based ability for you to build it with unlimited iterations, right? So you don't have to worry about credit limits and things like that. So because we offer unlimited iterations, so we are naturally optimized to get you to production quickly, right? So the platform is designed to be production ready. We have all the necessary built-in mechanisms for you to do authentication, for you to enable payments, security aspects, right? Database with scaling. Because again, our goal is to not focus on prototype building, but rather help you build applications that you can take to customers, which are revenue generating applications, right? And when we say zero DevOps, essentially you don't have to worry about uh, how do you scale those applications, because yes, there are a lot of tools that you can use, which will enable you to build these applications, maybe on an IDE on your local computer. But when it comes to taking that and making it available to customers, ensuring that it scales based on the traffic, or whenever the service goes down in the middle of the night, right? So bringing that back up and things like that. So that is all taken care of by the Avery platform for you, so that you don't have to worry about the technical aspects at all. Now, coming to the landscape, right? So, firstly, let's address what is micro-SaaS, and I'm pretty sure everyone is familiar with the concept, but I just wanted to make sure that we are on the uh, same grounds on the definition of what micro-SaaS is, right? So the whole objective of micro-SaaS is that it's a narrowly scoped SaaS product where it's not really boiling the ocean for a whole domain, but addressing a very specific audience and a very specific workflow for that audience, right? And when it comes to the goal of micro-SaaS apps or micro-SaaS as a business, it's to achieve profitability, right? So it's and get there fast, get there with absolute clarity. So who is or who is more suitable for a micro SaaS business? Essentially, solo founders and indie hackers, right? It's the most common community building micro SaaS applications. It could be even developers seeking prototype to production path where they may have built certain ideas, but they want to now take it to the market or get it in front of customers. Right? Consultants who are again they have their own service now. They want to productize their service, right, and make it repeatable. It could be like financial consultants, it could be business consultants, right? Um, so Microsoft enables that, um, and small teams within or large organizations, right? Or I mean, organizations of any size who are looking to build internal tools to make their work more efficient, right? Or to integrate between systems. So the key aspect is that it should be niche focus, right? That solves one problem really well. The whole objective is to have a low overhead. It should not require a huge investment or huge operating budget to run it. Micro-SaaS are generally solo founder friendly because most of the people who starts a micro-SaaS um, business are tend to be solo founders. And then the whole objective is to micro-SaaS is a recurring revenue business, right? So it's either a subscription based or an hybrid model. Now, coming to the opportunity today, right? So why do micro-SaaS now? Um, if we look at the latest reports of all the new SaaS businesses that have been created in the last couple of years, majority of them, like almost 68%, are solo founded, right? So there is already a fundamental shift happening towards individuals who are starting their SaaS or micro SaaS businesses, and most of the SaaS businesses are tending towards that. Now, the more important thing is that the micro SaaS market is projected to grow at almost like 30% year over year to reach almost like 60 billion by 2030. Now, contrast this with the traditional SaaS business growth, which is projected to be somewhere around 15 to 18%. So micro SaaS is growing at a much faster pace, right, than traditional SaaS businesses. And most of the micro SaaS business have very, very high profit margins, which is usually 70% and above, and which makes it easier to actually bootstrap micro SaaS businesses. Now, there a big pricing innovation that is happening in the SaaS world today. Typically, SaaS has been a primarily subscription-based model, right, till very, very recently. But now with AI coming in, so there is a shift to usage-based, right? Or essentially, people are reluctant to pay for SaaS if they're not really using it at all, right? So there is a fundamental shift happening from a seat-based pricing to go towards more usage-based pricing. But what is more powerful is that, yeah, I mean, it's neither one or the other, because there is a lot of scenarios where you would want it to be a seat-based or user-based pricing. And there are other scenarios which are more suitable for a usage-only pricing, right? But what brings the best of the two worlds is a hybrid pricing, which essentially uh, enables, I mean, there is an underlying user base, but uh, the user pricing is not a fixed price, but that is linked to the usage, right? So which basically makes it a win-win scenario for both the business as well as the customers using it. Now, the big tailwinds that is enabling the micro-SaaS businesses are, of course, the AI-assisted building, AI-assisted or vibe coding or AI coding, whatever you call it, which is pretty much democratize the uh, process of building software, right? So you don't need to be a software engineer, you don't need to be a programmer to actually create a software business anymore, right? And the hybrid pricing is actually driving the median growth of SaaS businesses. So the businesses which are going with hybrid pricing are seeing a 21% median growth, right? Compared to either a subscription only or the usage only. The infrastructure costs have been going down, and it's at all-time low today. And because there is a massive growth in the overall SaaS market, which is projected to almost reach a trillion by 2030 from 300 billion it is today. So this overall fuels the whole SaaS, micro SaaS economy, right? So these are some of the interesting things which makes creating a micro SaaS business very, very lucrative today. Now, let's get to the more important question, right? So we know that, yeah, there is a huge potential of creating micro SaaS businesses, but how do you get started, right? So how do you even find the right idea to build a micro SaaS business, right? So there are certain basic themes which, I mean, it's for any business uh, or to start any startup, right? Is to find a workflow that you can personally relate to, right? Or a workflow that you have to do manually every single time, and you want to automate that or create a better way of solving that, right? So it usually starts with this. Uh, when it comes into the business domain today, essentially in traditional business or even in technology oriented business, there is a lot of spreadsheet processes today where people don't like doing it, but for lack of better alternative or lack of more affordable alternatives, right? So people tend to use spreadsheet to just get the work done. It's not efficient. So that is another area to look into, is that what are the spreadsheet processes that exist within the domain that you work in, right? And those again become a great potential to convert them into micro-SaaS software. Um, Compliance and reporting is again a very big area for micro-SaaS businesses because it's so unique to every business, right? The compliance need, the reporting needs change from industry, change based on geolocations and things like that. So creating like very niche compliance or reporting software for niche businesses, niche verticals in niche uh, geographies. Again, uh, is provides a great starting point for micro-SaaS ideas. And finally, there are a lot of software tools which are probably bloated and very expensive, which are used in certain industries. These are again niche tools, right? It could be something that is used in manufacturing, and for lack of better alternative, uh, people are paying large license fees to be able to use that, right? And they are modifying their workflows to fit into that software, or hiring a team of consultants, right, or professional services, paying professional services fees to customize the software for their need, right? Again, these are opportunities that can be solved by creating micro-SaaS software that solves uh, that problem, or the fraction of the features that a specific business needs to use in a software for which they are paying for the full license fees, right? So creating that niche software with the subset of features that they actually need and making it available at a much lower price point, again, can help start a micro-SaaS business, right? Uh, and before getting into or creating a business, of course, the first and foremost is to validate the problem space, right? So talking to prospects, potential customers of the problem, or people for whom you're actually solving the problem by doing problem interviews, right? So which are typically uh, can range from anywhere from 5 to 15 minute short calls with them to really validate whether the problem exists and would someone be interested in paying for a solution and how much, right? So it's is always a first step to validate the idea. Then as you build out your minimum viable product, the MVP, creating a landing page with a very clear messaging is again with a wait list, right? Also helps validate that, because if a lot of users are signing up for the wait list, that tells you that what you are actually working on or building has potential, right? And usually it's always better for the initial few customers to handhold them and work very closely. What we call as the concierge version, where you work with the concept of design partners, right? So where you're actually working very closely, learning from them, incorporating the feedback, and you're actually delivering manually. And the final point is enabling pricing from the very beginning. Even if you're not pricing, it's like a pilot price, right? Because that helps validate whether it's something that people would be willing to pay for, right? So even if the product is rough. So if it's solving a particular pain point for the user, they are more likely to pay and also be patient with the product, right? So again, that's some of the ways to really validate the idea. Now, in uh, one of the common things, right, common reasons why most of the MVPs, the minimum viable product, fails is that usually trying to be a large platform, right? And trying to solve too many things at get-go. So almost always to start specific, and it's even more true for a micro-SaaS business, is to always try starting with one user role, right, that you target rather than making it very broad-based, right? So if you're trying to create a solution in the manufacturing industry, you don't want the solution to be targeting like all roles within manufacturing industry, right? So you don't want the finance, target finance, engineering, production all at once, right? Identifying one specific role and one core task that they would be willing to pay enables you to deliver that aha moment, right? Because it's almost uh, like saying that here is one thing that we do really, really well compared to what others do, right? And that gives an instant recognition because users are able to relate to the problem. They don't get confused. There is absolute clarity in what is being offered, right? And offering one clear retention hook, right? So why would a user keep returning back to the platform, right? So what is the hook to enable that? So those are some of the things to think about when starting with the micro SaaS ideas, right? So again, as an example, it's usually vague when you start with an idea like, say, I want to create a podcast management platform, right? It's very vague. It's not generic enough, but targeting that, okay, I want to target podcast management platform for maybe uh, uh, podcasters who are talking about real estate, right? And then enabling them to do a very specific workflow, like upload their audio, generate audio notes, and export it into a template format is probably one workflow that you solve really, really well. All right. So now coming to the platform. So you have the idea, you have identified the idea, you have validated it against the market. You have picked one specific workflow that you do much, much better than others, right? So when it comes to actually building it out, building the MVP or building the even the production version, how do you go about doing it, right? So that is where our platform Avery comes into play. We make it extremely easy, so you can describe your requirements to Avery in simple English. It will generate a full stack production code, so you can then preview the application, you can iterate on it, right? And you can add, remove functionality, make changes, right? And we offer all of those as a flat fee. Uh, so you don't have to worry about, are you burning a lot of tokens? Are you burning credits in doing through that iteration, right? And finally, we enable you to deploy it in production, and we scale that application from as you start with one user going all the way to like thousands of users of your application. Uh, again, comparing with traditional approaches of how Micro-SaaS or any idea would have would be built like traditionally. So it would have taken like anywhere between 6 to 12 months with a budget of anywhere between 50 to 150K to create an MVP, right? Whereas with Avery and with AI, that's dramatically changing because we offer it to you at a flat fee rate. And this deliver almost like a 99% cost reduction. Okay, so some of the, I mean, these are slightly more technical uh, aspects as you build out your product and take it to market. What are some of the production ready checklists that you should keep in mind, right? So security and trust, that is the paramount because if you're building an application which the end users don't feel very secure using, right? So that's and it's going to cause trust issues, right? So with that, so having the proper authentication mechanism, having things like role-based authorization, being able to audit the user actions, right? With encryption enabled for secure data transfer and having the database backup and ability to restore if something goes down, right? So all of those are very critical in building trust. Observability is again another important thing in tracking errors happening in the applications, tracking analytics to make sure that you understand how the end users are using the application so that you can identify where are the gaps and where do users, I mean, users are struggling in using the product in the intended way, right? Uh, and one of the critical thing to look for is churn once you have paying users, right? What is impacting their day-to-day usage and what is likely signals uh, that maybe shows that the user may not continue the renewal next month, right? So having all of those is very, very critical, having alerts and monitoring. And if you are using AI, ability to track that AI usage and cost is again another very important criteria as you take the application to production, right? Now, in terms of pricing, I talked about it briefly earlier, which is basically figuring out a hybrid pricing model which balances between subscription revenue as well as usage-based add-ons. Um, enables the user to feel more comfortable today because they're now saying that yeah, I get only charge a base fee for the platform, and then based on how I'm using it, right, the pricing varies, right? So which uh, for heavy users, of course, they are happy to pay more. Light users, they pay less because they're not using as much. Uh, feature-based packaging, which is again a very popular. So you have certain features which are like more premium for users, and you uh, uh, charge them higher uh, based compared to other features which are you don't I mean which are like more basic and you probably want to make it available at a lower price point or for free so that users can use something at with very very little friction before they graduate to higher pricing tiers. Um, if you're using AI, again, I'm being very transparent about AI pricing. because it's usually a little bit complex for people to understand how uh, pricing AI model usage work, right? So being transparent about that helps. And you need to match with your cost structure so that you need to ensure that whatever you're pricing um, doesn't get you in red, right? It doesn't get you in the negative. So you have positive margins going forward. And then, of course, having more frequent billing cycles definitely helps versus doing like one-time payments or infrequent cycles of billing. In terms of micro-SaaS success stories, there are many, and you can look up. I just picked a few of them as examples, but if you search online, you'll come across many, and more so recently of people who have started as a solo business. Some of them have grown into like started as a solo micro SaaS business, but over time have morphed into a pretty large regular business. Right? So here are some of them with revenues ranging from, let's say, 8K monthly, with some of them going up to like 25 million per year. So again, I picked different kinds of examples here just to show the range and the diversity in terms of what people are building and what are they able to do with a single founder uh, alone. Right? Okay, so now if we basically take the learnings from all of those and create like a winning micro SaaS pattern to follow, these are the six key areas that you start lean and usually solo with limited investment right before you generate the first revenue. We talked about solving one pain point, one workflow so that it basically delivers that wow factor to the audience and does it with absolute clarity, right? One of the key aspect of micro-SaaS and also building trust is building in public, right? So as you share your journey, and there are platforms like Indie Hackers and or even Reddit and others, right? Where a lot of micro-SaaS founders are talking about how they got started, how they identified what is happening behind the scenes. So it just builds trust and you get a lot of community support as well. Uh, Strategic pricing is an important factor, ensuring that the pricing is not complex. And the more you can charge for outcomes, um, there is a greater willingness for people to pay for that, right? Uh, Doing integrations across other platforms that your target customers use so that you're not only expecting them to use your platform from one point, but it's easily integrated into other tools and ecosystem and being able to leverage the ecosystem of software that your target users already use, right? So is again another area of how you can help grow. And the go-to-market strategy has to be a community first. So, I mean, you don't start a Microsoft business by putting a big ad budget, right? So, getting using the free mechanism of building within a community um, helps both build trust and build a user base till you have revenues uh, to do more paid marketing activities. So here are a quick list of where you can actually launch your platform. And there are a lot of them. It used to be Product Hunt being one of the foremost platform out there, but there are a lot more platform in the list. So I just put them together here uh, for reference. But yeah, I mean, ensuring that you distribute your product in as many platforms as possible just helps increase the visibility, helps increase the recognition of what you are doing, and of course helps drive your customer base. Right? So that's pretty much what I wanted to cover in terms of how to go from a Microsoft's idea to basically the launch of it. What I want to do next as a remaining part of the webinar is to uh, do a quick demo of our platform and show you how it can help you build a solution very, very easily without having to worry about all the uh, technical aspects and technical details, right? So for the demo, I am created a very simple, created a app. It's not exactly a simple one, but it's an app which is of interest to a lot of people today, which is to track AI return of investment. Typically, every business is investing in AI today, but having a concrete way to measure the ROI is of interest now because it's part of like board level conversations. CIOs have to demonstrate how exactly ROI help the business, how exactly AI help the business, right? And where is the return coming from? So this is basically a Micro-SaaS app that we have generated, and I'll use this example to demonstrate how to use the Avery platform for that. So with that, let me switch over to the browser. Yeah, hopefully uh, everyone can see my browser screen. So you go to Avery.dev, and we basically offer you a up to a 7-day trial with limited build credits that you can actually use to start building your app. And then you have up to 7 days to try out, to get comfortable with the platform before you upgrade. And again, like I said, that we offer a very simple pricing mechanism that it pretty much starts with $49 with of course, a $50 one-time setup fee that we charge for this plan. But what it enables you is the ability to build with unlimited iterations, so you don't have to worry about credit limits or token. You can build from scratch, or if you already have uh, got going on certain ideas and you have like a preliminary code base that you build maybe on other platforms or using freelancers or maybe yourself, right? And you want to get that as a starting point and continue to build on top of that, you could do that as well. So once you get into the application, so essentially um, what you will see is that you can create, of course, any number of apps here. Like I said, that you can either start creating a new app or migrate an existing app. So if you start building a new app, you can give the description of exactly what you want. It should not be too short, and neither should it be too elaborate, right? It should have just specific to the point details of what you're building, what features and functionality that you need in that application, right, to get started. And then you can, of course, iterate with the app, with the AI agent as you're building the application, right? Now, we have the ability for you to pick certain design styles as well, or you could let the AI decide what is the best look and feel for that app. Now, if you're um, uh, creating an app and you want to have some sample data in it, test data being generated so that you can use it to demo straight away. So you can use the sample data. Then we have advanced configuration, which enables you to do a lot more in terms of what authentication mechanism that you want to use, right? So by default, it uses email and password, but you can choose Magic Link or you can use enable any of the social logins. Uh, we support multiple payment gateways that you can integrate uh, for uh, for charging subscription for your offering, and then for AI integration, if you need to use AI in your application, so you can configure that as well. So this actually gives you a lot of control over um, all the best practices, right? Right from authentication to payment gateway, as well as in the database. So we offer our own hosted managed database for you, but if you want to use an external database like Superbase, you can connect that as well. Now, one of the key things that we offer is basically an idea generator here, where you can, like I said, right? So it's very important to focus what you're building. So let's say you need help with getting started with some of the ideas. So you can use this idea generator where you can specify what is your target industry, right? So for example, I could maybe say information technology here, and then you can specify what is the role of the person that you are actually targeting, right? As a part of this, and which geography are you targeting? And once you do that, now this takes a little time to generate the ideas, but what this will do behind the scene, it will do a online research as to what would be useful for this particular industry and this particular role, right? In this geography, what are some of the problems that exist which are not solved easily, which are not solved yet? So it will give you certain ideas based on that, and that's something that you can then use it, right? So as a starting point. So while this is happening, so let me switch over to one of the idea that we have already built as an application, which is the ROI tracker. Now the ROI tracker, we have given the details like I had shown on the slide. Now, one of the functionality that we have is that typically it takes anywhere between 15 to 30 minutes to go through an entire app building cycle. So the moment you provide the idea here, right, as a new app, you describe the idea concept to actually the final preview app that gets generated for you, right? So it usually takes anywhere between like 15 to 30 minutes. Now, of course, in interest of time, and I welcome all of you to log in to Avery, get started for free, test it out yourself. Uh, but in interest of time, we have a functionality where we can actually replay what happened on an existing app when it got built. So I'll take this app example. So as you can see that this is now already built. I can start the preview here. So what this will do is that it will deploy the code in a local development instance for this app, right? And it lets you interact with it. So think of the preview as almost like your development environment. It's not the customer facing yet. It's internal to you so that you can test it out, you can make changes. And once you're happy with the application, so now we offer you the ability to actually publish this application. Now, what this will do is that you can choose a domain where you want to publish this. So we also provide every subdomains, but you can bring your own domain as well. Um, you can enable Google Analytics, like I said, that tracking users and usage is very, very important. So you can provide your Google Analytics tracking code here and then publish this application. So it will be available then to external users. Now the published version is a complete separate instance with its own database. So whatever changes that you do here on the preview side doesn't get affected, right? So this is essentially the application that got built. Now, what I want to do is that in interest of time, I will replay what happened in building this application because we have a replay functionality which enables you to go through it step by step. So for that, yeah, so before I switch over to that, I just wanted to quickly touch upon the app idea generator that we had initiated. So we asked for information technology for salespeople and in United States. So it came up with various different ideas. So you can look at the description of the idea of what exactly this is about, right? So for every idea, it comes up with a unique concept. This is essentially the description that will go in building the app. And for everything, it can also generate a business justification. So if you click on the business justification, so what it will generate for you is why has the AI chosen this idea, right? And what is the TAM? What is the total addressable market for this? What are the gaps that exist in the market today? Who is your ideal customer profile for this, right? So who would be willing to pay for a solution like this? What are the current competitors of the product, if any, who is doing something similar? It will provide you the details around that. And what is the suggested pricing range for an application like that, right? So again, it does pretty in-depth research for you to help you identify that idea so that you are comfortable. It does a lot of research that otherwise manually you would have to do to come up with the idea. So the whole platform helps you not just look at an idea, but also get the business justification, right? Is this idea worth doing? So it takes a few minutes to do that. And again, I'll come back to that when it's completed. But let me jump back into the demo that I was talking about and doing a replay of how this was built. So this is the AI yeah, ROI tracker, and I can actually replay this in terms of showing what happened step by step. So when I start this, so as we give the initial requirement, what Avery does is that firstly, it would try to create a design, a mock-up for that application, right? And it'll present you the design mock-ups that you approve. Or you can iterate and make changes on the design mockups, right? Now, once you approve the mockup, it'll then start going and generate the code, write the code for you to, I mean, for the application. Now, again, this is something that you don't really need to worry about if you don't want to look at the technical, worry about the technical details, but it shares on a high level exactly what it's doing behind the scene. Now let me run this on an accelerated way so that, yeah, so it basically does everything from building the database, building the front end layer, writing the business logic, writing the backend components, right? So that you don't really have to worry about that. Now, there might be certain times where probably the AI ran into an issue, and we basically, whenever the AI runs into a problem, you'll see that in the interface itself, where it says that you can ask AI to fix that problem. So you can interact with that AI. So here is one of the issues that was run into during that. And then when we basically submitted the request, the AI went ahead and fixed it. And then finally, it identifies all of the deployment settings, what it needs to do, how to build this application, right? And then it goes ahead and shows you the preview of the application. So this is essentially the same preview that we saw there, right? So this is a very simple replay of what it took. We ran it at the 3x speed, but typically this was like a 20-minute process to, because it will generate, it will identify issues, it will debug it for you, right? And then it will produce the fully functional app. Now let me go back here. I can share here. So this is completely functioning app. And like I said, that if you ask it to generate seed data for demo, it will create a demo account as well. So with pre-filled data, so that you don't have to go and enter all those details for you to take it to your customers and get their feedback or do a demo with them. So what this does is that it will basically uh, take me to the demo account, which already has everything pre-filled in terms of what was the application that we built, right? And it created a pretty complex application in a matter of 20 minutes, where if you look at, there are configurations for tracking all the different AI projects, right? Where's the investment? What is the ROI for each one of that? You can have KPI tracking, right? So again, these are can be filtered by hard ROI, soft strategic things. This is again very specific to the application that was built. It has created like value realization charts and graphs, and what is the timeline to the value velocity. You can also do scenario modeling here by changing things around. It generates even board reports based on the investment that was done. And then, of course, there are alerts and notification if something is not performing in as the intended way, right? So you expect a certain ROI, but it's not delivering. So it creates a pretty complex application in a minute. Sorry, in a few minutes. Now you can continue to iterate on that, right? So you can ask the user to ask the agent if you need to make any changes, right? So I can say that change the color scheme to maybe use green theme. So I could interact with the agent. What it'll do is that it'll take up the request. It'll run through that process. So basically, it gives you the ability to incrementally iterate on that without having to know anything around the code, around the technology aspect for it, right? And then, like I said, that once I'm happy with this application, I've tested it, I think that this is ready to go, I can publish this here. So when I essentially publish it, it will create like a production deployment. It will release this so that I can share this domain with external users who can now use this application I mean, and test it out, right? And then you can connect your own domain as well the moment you're ready to actually take it live to end customers. So, so that's in a nutshell what you can do. Now, before we wrap up, I want to go back and maybe see if it has generated the business justification. Probably not. It's still working on that. Let me try it for a different one. I just wanted to show you the kind of the business justifications that it generates. But while it does that, let's see if it has done a deployment for this. So while this is happening, I wanted to just quickly check if there are any questions uh, from anyone. I'm not able to see the chat. Maybe I have to stop sharing. Yeah, the recording of the webinar will be sharing this. So I think there was a question on that. All right. Is there any other questions that anybody has? So feel free to ask it in the Q&A section. Okay. Let me get back here and I'll show you. Yeah. So this basically. This is now published on this domain. You can share this. This can be used by external users, right, to test it out. So yeah, so that pretty much concludes the webinar. Again, thanks everyone for attending. Really appreciate your time. Hope that this was useful for you. And if you have any feedback, please do share it with us over email. And I would invite all of you to try out Avery for your use cases and then let us know your feedback if it is useful. If we can help you take your ideas to production, that is what is our mission. And we are all ears to any feedback on how we can improve and make it more useful for you. So once again, thank you everyone for joining, and we'll see you the next time.